Hey SD fans, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about diving from a hard boat, and I'll be giving you 5 handy hints that will make your boat diving a much more enjoyable experience, as well as 1 surefire way to endear yourself with your trusty crew. For those here for the first time, my name's Mark, I'm the Editor-in-Chief of the Scuba Diver media brand, and welcome to the Scuba Diver YouTube channel. Now, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future videos, and ring that notification bell so you know when any new content has been uploaded. Now, before we get into it, don't forget you can sign up for a free digital subscription from the link in the description below, and if you want to receive one of our print magazines, we have a special introductory offer just for our YouTube followers. Right, on with the video. Following on from last week's focus on rib diving, in this video I'll turn my attention to hardboat. Stable, more spacious, and with some creature comforts, toilet, galley for those essential teas, coffees and tasty snacks, and in some cases diver lifts, hardboats can deliver you to dive sites that can be well out of reach of smaller vessels. Then there is the ultimate hardboat, on a liveaboard, where you can stay and dine on board and dive 3, 4 or even 5 times a day, but I'll talk about them another day. Now, as we said, with a rib charter, make sure you arrive in plenty of time. The skipper sets a time for ropes off for a reason, be that time constraints, tidal conditions, or whatever. So don't be that diver that delays everyone heading off for a dive. I like to get to the dock a good 30 minutes or so before we are due to depart. This allows me to gather my kit, get it all stored on board, and be nice and relaxed before the ropes are off. There is nothing worse than cutting it fine and rushing to board. That's when you forget important items of kit, or worse, gear can get damaged. So, arrive in good time and start your day off properly, nice and relaxed. Keep your dive station tidy. There is usually more storage space on a hardboat, so you don't have to be quite so cutthroat when it comes to taking things on board with you. But that doesn't mean the skipper and other divers want you hauling monster dive bags and the like along for the day. I've seen people rock up to a hardboat pulling their giant travel roller bag with them. Yes, it's one way of getting your kit to the boat, but then we spent the day manoeuvring around the empty bags, and it was just a real pain in the backside. Let's just say they were not very popular. There is a way of hauling your gear that's far more sensible. I always travel with a large mesh bag that is capable of holding my entire dive kit. So that's mask, snorkel, fins, BCD, regulator, wetsuit, boots, my DSMB and reel, etc. These are lightweight, they can live in the bottom of your main dive bag when you're not using them, and they don't take up any of your valuable luggage weight allowance. But when you get to the dive destination, first thing I like to do is decant all my dive kit out of my main dive bag into this mesh bag, because that means I'm ready to go in the morning. I can just pick it up, head out the door, and away I go. The benefits of this are twofold. 1, as you step on board, you know you've got all of your kit to go diving in one place. 2, once you've got all your gear set up, the mesh bag can just stash away and doesn't take up any precious space on board. Now, on some day boats, you might just have a space under your bench, in which case I leave my mask in its box and fins inside the mesh bag until it's time to actually go diving. Keeps my dive station tidy, but it also prevents any accidental damage to my kit, as it is safely out of the way. On other boats, you might be issued with a plastic box. In this instance, I'll put my mask and fins into the box along with the empty mesh bag. The main thing is that a mesh bag, even a relatively large one, will fold up to next to nothing, so you'll never be the one taking up valuable deck space. If you remember from my rib video, I said to only take what you need to go diving with you, apart from maybe sunglasses and some form of headgear, be that a sun hat for if you're in the tropics, or a warm woolly hat for if it's cold. Now, you don't have to be quite so brutal when you're on a hardboat, as there is more room, but equally, that doesn't mean you need to bring all and sundry with you. I tend to take a small backpack or a 10-litre dry bag on board with me. This is more than big enough to hold my dive computer, a towel, maybe some spare batteries for my camera and strobe, and then when it comes to dive time, it will also take my dry clothes. Again, being tidy is key. Don't be that diver that slings their stuff all over the boat. Even if you're an experienced diver, make sure you listen to the skipper when he gives the boat briefing, safety briefing and dive briefing. You may be on hard boats all the time, but there could be differences with this particular vessel. Plus, it's just the polite thing to do, so don't be that diver who's talking to their buddies or faffing with their kit while the skipper is doing his briefing. It won't go down very well. Equally, if you're new to hard boat diving and you're feeling a little unsure or nervous, talk to the crew and ask questions. That's what they're there for, and believe me, they much prefer to know as much about each diver on board as possible. They want to make your day as fun and enjoyable as can be, and knowing any concerns that you've got will only assist them with this goal. So just chat to them. Hard boats, by their very nature, have more room on the dive deck area than a rib, so getting into your BCD is not such a chore. You can usually sit on a comfy bench and take your time getting ready. Many hard boats see you giant stride into the water off the stern, but depending on the design, there might be exits to port on starboard, and I've even been on catamarans where you can jump off the bow as well. The crew will tell you which exit to use, and generally they will walk you to the edge of the boat, holding onto your pillar valve to stabilise you as you shuffle along. Now, if in the safety briefing the skipper says they don't want you moving around fully kitted on your own, then don't. Wait until a crew member has hold of you and then head to the exit. On a dead calm day, this might seem overkill, but if it's rough, you might be very glad of the assistance. I've seen divers ignore the advice, get up on their own accord, and then slip or fall over. You might only hurt your pride, but then you could also hurt someone else by falling on them or actually injure yourself in the process. On a boat out of Fort Lauderdale, a guy fell over in choppy conditions and badly broke his wrist, which not only ruled out any diving for him for a while, but it unfortunately also curtailed our activities for the day as we needed to return to the dock so he could go off to the A&E department. Even if you're on a boat that doesn't specify for a crew member to assist, always try to hold on to something solid with at least one hand as you make your way to the exit. It's just better to be safe than sorry. Now, as I said, you will generally doing giant strides off a hard boat. Now, you've all done this in your basic training, so I'm not going to tell you how to suck eggs, but just remember to do a decent stride out into the water. I see far too many people who barely step forward as they go off a boat, and believe me, if the bottom of your tank hits the side of the deck as you go down, it's going to hurt. Now, getting back onto a hard boat is much easier than getting back onto a rib. Most have sturdy ladders mounted either on the stern or on the port or starboard side. Now, these tend to be either a normal ladder or what I refer to as aerial ladders because they look like a TV aerial, which have a central post and then they have steps coming out of either side. With the former, you need to remove your fins before you head up the ladder. And you generally do this either on a tagline floating off the boat, so you hold on the line, then you can remove your fins, and then you haul yourself along the line to the ladder, and then off you go. Or you actually hold onto the ladder and you just take your fins off. Now beware, make sure that you hold onto the step or the safety railings on the ladder. In rough conditions, that ladder can swing up and down on its hinge, and I have seen far too many near misses where people's fingers have nearly been crushed or worse when they've held onto the side of the ladder. So watch out for that. With an aerial ladder, or a fin ladder as they're known, you don't have to remove your fins at all. You simply swim straight to the ladder and then you can climb up, bringing your fin feet up and around with each step. Now, I much prefer these because when it's rough, you can just get to the ladder, get up to it, and be back on the boat with the minimum of fuss. Now, stern ladders won't tend to move around too much, even in choppier conditions. They might just go from side to side. But ladders on the side of a vessel can be a little more interesting in rough weather. Now, up in Scapa Flow in the north of Scotland, many of the boats are converted fishing boats, which can roll around somewhat when it gets lumpy. Now, I remember the fin ladder on one that was completely clearing the water as it rolled one way, and then it was completely submerging itself when it rolled the other. Now, in those conditions, you just have to be patient and get your timing right. You do not want to be under that ladder when it comes down. That's for certain. It's going to hurt. What I did was I just hovered away from where the ladder was smashing in and out of the water, and as it went down, I made my move. In this case, it was a case of just get a solid grip and hold on. As the boat reared back up and the ladder came out of the water, I got my knees on the steps. Before it went back down into the water the second time, I was able to get my feet on a step. After being submerged again, nice solid grip, and I could climb back up onto the deck. It was certainly an exhilarating way of ending a dive, that's for sure. Now, many hard boats are coming equipped with diver lifts these days, and this piece of technology is simply amazing. Originally conceived to hoist fully laden tech divers back onto a boat at the end of a long decompression dive, they have soon been adopted by recreational divers who also appreciate not having to climb up a ladder after a dive. Now, diver lifts can vary in design and function, but basically they are a platform that can be lowered into the water. The diver then swims in, stands on the platform, holds onto grab handles on either side as it's raised up to deck level, and there they go. It's just a case of shuffling back to your bench. Now, some diver lifts are operated by a crew member that's stood right next to it. Others can be remotely operated by the skipper in the bridge. Most are designed for a single diver, but I have been on a catamaran off the south coast of England that could take a buddy pair at the same time. I cannot say enough good things about diver lifts. If you have never tried one, wait till you do, and you will see what I mean. They are awesome. Ladders. One major benefit of a hard boat is all of the creature comfort. Most will be equipped with a marine head, and many have a basic galley for rustling up coffees and teas, or even snacks. Some UK dive boats have become famous for their hot chocolates and warm pasties at the end of a dive. It cannot be overstated just how welcome the sight of a steaming hot cup of tea, coffee or chocolate can be when you've been in chilly waters for an hour or so. In the tropics, hard boats have a plentiful supply of fresh water to keep yourselves hydrated, generally have fresh fruit and fruit juice, and can also knock together teas and coffees. Snacks can range from the aforementioned pasties and cakes to crisps, nuts and pretzels, and all will be quickly consumed by hungry divers. And that brings me nicely on to my final piece of advice, and a surefire way to endear yourself with your skipper and crew. Bring food! Nothing brings a smile to the face of a hard-working crew quicker than the sight of a bag of chocolates or a packet of chocolate biscuits. Well, maybe a cold pint when the day is done, but you'll have to wait till you get back to the pub for that one. Now, depending on where you are in the world, your crew will also appreciate a tip at the end of the day. Now, it's worth researching beforehand what the going rate is for a daily tip where you are going to be diving, but I always say, give what you think people deserve. If you feel someone has gone above and beyond, why not slip them that little bit extra to the norm? They will be very happy. So, that's our handy hits that will make your hardboat diving a much more enjoyable experience. Now, what are some of your tips for diving from a hardboat? Leave your comments below, and if you have a question, fire away. If we can't answer it, then maybe someone in our community will be able to. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can also grab a free digital magazine subscription in the description below. As always, if you're going to be diving in the coming days, enjoy. Stay safe.